sitting on my kitchen table all the time, and I just started playing and came up with this tune called The Good Lord Will Provide.
Here's J.P. Soars.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna break out my guitar and play for a little while. I'm gonna try not to worry, 'cause the good Lord will provide. Yes, He will. I know He will. Now we need to all come together like we ain't never did before. We need to try and live together like we ain't never did before. And be mindful of your neighbor. Remember that we're all in this together. I know that the good Lord will provide. I know He will. Now we need to stop hating each other and try to love your brother, no matter what they believe, and bring happiness and peace. Together we can make a change. I know that the good Lord will provide. I know He will. Now we need to all come together like we ain't never did before. We need to try and live together like we ain't never did before. And be mindful of your neighbors. Remember that we're all in this together. See, I know the good Lord will provide. I know He will. I know that the good Lord will provide. I know He will. I know that the good Lord will provide. I know He will. Yeah.
J.P. Soars, live in the WLRN studio. Is that on your new album?
It sure is.
With the full band?
Yep.
Very cool. So what is your full band?
Chris Pete is the drummer. Mm-hmm. We've been playing together for 20 years now. Bass player is Cleveland Frederick, and he's been playing with us for almost 10 years. So I'm really lucky and fortunate to have those guys.
Oh, J.P. Soars, so great you're here. How about one more tune?
Sure. Yeah. I'll play this little instrument.
Oh yes, the little. It's like a cross between a guitar and a dulcimer.
Yeah. Yep. And let me make sure it's in tune here.
And yet, so now you know how to play a dulcimer as well.
Yeah. Well, my dad had a regular dulcimer, which normally you play on your lap like this.
Yeah.
And he had that when and for years. He still does. And I would always mess around with that and figure little things out on it. Just a cool sound that it has.
Yeah, dulcimer is typical Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. And we were up in Canada on tour a few years back, and I found this in a little music store. And
But that's a crazy thing. I've never seen a dulcimer that straps around your body like that.
And this one's electric, so I can plug it in. So this I do play on the gigs.
Oh.
And it just sets a whole different vibe when you break this thing out.
Have you ever seen anything else like that? Have you ever seen that?
Not really, no.
Right.
No. But this song right here is called The Old Silver Bridge, right? And I wrote this tune. We were traveling in upstate New York, up in a little town called Ellicottville. It's about an hour outside of Buffalo. And upstate New York, surprisingly to myself, is very similar to where I grew up in northwest Arkansas in the Ozarks. It's a lot of the same terrain, hills and valleys, and just so we had the day off, and a buddy of ours up there took us fishing, and so I wrote this song called The Old Silver Bridge that day, which kind of reminds me of where I grew up. Take a sip of water here.
Oh, sure. Oops.
Yep.
You try to take a sip. Mm-hmm. J.P. Soars is in the studio.
Yeah.
And what do you call that instrument?
It's called a Merlin stick dulcimer. Yeah, and this one's made up in Canada, actually. So this song, Old Silver Bridge, let me see if I can do it. Flows between the dark green valley down by that old silver bridge. The birds are chirping and the woodpeckers knocking as I listen to the sound of the wind through the trees. The sun is shining, ain't a cloud in the sky. As I look up to the heaven, everything's alright. It don't even matter if the fish ain't biting, 'cause I know everything will be just fine. I know it will. Falling, summer's almost over, and I love this time of year. September's coming and the leaves they're turning, and wintertime's almost here. See, the river flows between the dark green valley down by that old silver bridge. The birds are chirping and the woodpeckers knocking as I listen to that sound of the wind through the trees.
J.P. Soars. Who bends notes on the lap dulcimer, that stick dulcimer? That's great. J.P. Soars, live in the WLRN studio, his latest album, Brick by Brick. How can we get a hold of Brick by Brick?
You can order it on my website, jpsoars.com. Mm-hmm. You can also order it on the Little Village Foundation website, so littlevillage.com. It's on Spotify and all those platforms. Apple Music has it as well. Okay.
JP, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Here's music from Mean Mary.
All right.
Betty should be back by now. She's never been this late before.